Greetings, friends. This is huge news. Congressional lawmakers have just reached a deal on how much to spend for 2024. This is as a shutdown deadline nears. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has unveiled important information on what programs are going to continue to be funded. My dear friends, this coming Friday, I will be announcing several winners for the Walmart gift card giveaway. If you would like to enter these weekly giveaway, friends, do make sure that you click and like several of my videos and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you comment on, friends, the greater your chances of winning these giveaways.
At my request, the Government Accountability Office issued 2 reports on low-income housing tax credit. Their report found there is a minimal federal oversight of the program and a lack of quality data. As a result, it was difficult to evaluate efficiency and effectiveness of the program. To address this, Government Accountability Office recommended designating HUD to assist IRS in oversight of the program and to collect project cost data. Would you support HUD being designated as a joint administrator of the program? And if not, what would you recommend to be done to increase federal oversight and ensure data collection necessary to evaluate the program?
Actually already collected, but it's collected, to your point, at the state level with the state housing finance agencies. There isn't a centralized funnel on all of it for the federal government to take a look at it. I would suggest continuing to work with those state agencies in partnership with them to be sure that those data points are collected at the federal level, either through the service and or through HUD. The data that HUD has collected, I think, has been effective. The National Council of State Housing Finance Agencies also has a series of best practices for state housing finance agencies to report data, and following those, I think, would also be an effective tool.
Okay. Mr. Calabria, you expressed concern that this tax credit is too focused on large multi-unit structures in urban areas. In my home state of Iowa, we have many small towns and rural communities that are sorely in need of housing. In fact, I don't know how many times I hear this when I'm going around my county meetings, particularly from employers that are looking for more employees, and housing is an impediment. How could the tax credit be improved to better serve the needs of suburban and rural communities?
A great question, Senators. And I mentioned about half of renters live in properties with under 5 units. So again, the average tax credit is about 40 units. So one option would, of course, be to set aside for a certain number of units. You could require that a third of tax credit volume, dollar volume, go to either units under 20 or 10. I mean, this is certainly something where you can look at where the touch point is. But I think ultimately, and again, I don't want to dismiss the efforts that housing finance agencies are taking, but I think at this point, having a set aside for smaller properties is appropriate.
House Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer have just announced a deal on how much the United States government will spend in the new year. This is a significant step towards avoiding a government shutdown, while the agreement on a top-line spending level breaks a logjam that has stalled the process. It does not necessarily get rid of the shutdown threat. Chuck Schumer and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries said in a statement, the bipartisan top-line appropriations agreement clears a way for Congress to act over the next few weeks. This is in order to maintain important funding priorities for the American people and avoid a government shutdown. Mike Johnson told colleagues in a letter, the deal would establish an overall spending level of $1.59 trillion in fiscal year 2024, reflecting the bipartisan budget deal struck last year by President Biden and then Speaker Kevin McCarthy. The breakdown is $886 billion for the military and $704 billion for non-defense spending. Speaker Johnson also added that there will be key modifications to the agreement in order to reduce non-military spending with a $16 billion offset. That includes $6.1 billion in unused funds and $10 billion in IRS money under the Inflation Reduction Act. So while these final spending levels will not satisfy everyone, and they do not cut as much spending as many would like, this deal does provide a path to move the process forward. A senior Democratic aide said the Biden-McCarthy deal included $20.2 billion in IRS cuts spread over 2 years. The new agreement with Speaker Johnson just means they will happen over 1 year instead. After the agreement was announced, Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries said that when factoring in the added $69 billion, the non-defense discretionary spending level will be $772.7 billion in the new fiscal year under the deal. They stated the framework agreement to proceed will enable the appropriators to address many of the major challenges America faces at home and abroad. It will also allow us to keep the investments for hard-working American families. The Republican-led House and Democratic-controlled Senate still need to establish and agree on how to allocate those funds. President Biden praised the agreement on a statement on Sunday. He said the bipartisan funding framework that congressional leaders have reached moves us one step closer to preventing a needless government shutdown and protecting important national priorities. It reflects the funding levels that I negotiated with both parties and signed into law last spring. Hiring in December far surpassed economists' expectations and rebuked concerns of a recession in the coming months. The U.S. economy added 216,000 jobs last month, while the unemployment rate held steady at 3.7%, a historically low figure. However, experts say the good economic news may pose a challenge for the Federal Reserve as it tries to cool the economy and slow price increases. Inflation stands well below last summer's peak of over 9%, but remains more than a percentage point above the Federal Reserve's target rate of 2%. The hiring in December, which accelerated from the previous month, signals an economy resistant to the cool-down sought by the Fed. Policymakers closely watch a pace of wage growth, since a rise in worker pay may prompt businesses to offset the added costs by raising their prices. So, dear friends, what are your thoughts about what's going on in our government? Please let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section below. Well, my great and beautiful friends, that is the end of my daily stimulus update video for today. My dear friends, thank you very much for being part of this community. Every Friday, I will be announcing several winners for the Walmart gift card giveaway. If you would like to enter these weekly giveaway, friends, please click and like several of my videos and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you comment on, dearest friends, the greater your chances of winning these giveaways. Thank you, and have a wonderful and very blessed week.